Good evening and welcome to Icu Tv main news. We begin by taking a look at the stories making headlines. President Hichilema receives condolence visit from South African envoy. Ministry of Education to complete stored school projects nationwide. Nevis Mumba appeals to Lungu family to bury former president in Zambia. Western chiefs commend government for inclusive Bill 7 consultations. And in our international news, Trump takes huge gamble putting U.S. at heart of Iran-Israel conflict. And in our sports news, Mweemba rallies Copper Queens ahead of WAFCON campaign. With the news details, my name is Mapalo Kasama. President Hakainde Hichilema received a courtesy visit from South Africa's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamola, who delivered condolences on behalf of President Cyril Ramaphosa and the people of South Africa following the passing of Zambia's 60th Republican President Edgar Lungu. The message conveyed deep sympathy and solidarity with President Hichilema and the Zambian people during this time of national mourning. In their meeting, President Hichilema and Minister Lamola held a respectful discussion regarding the burial of the late president. President Hichilema reaffirmed Zambia's position that President Lungu would be laid to rest in his homeland and expresses sincere gratitude to the South African government for the care provided to former president during his illness. However, the repatriation process encountered unexpected logistical challenges on June 18, 2025, prompting President Hichilema to extend formal apologies to the South African National Defense Force. While the Zambian government had initially prepared for a state funeral, a change in plans by the Lungu family altered the official program. In response, President Hichilema called on all Zambians to remain calm and orderly as the nation navigates this solemn moment. The Ministry of Education has committed to completing Oxford education infrastructure projects across the country. In view of the surge in school enrollment driven by the Education for All policy, the ministry has emphasized the urgent need for additional classroom space to accommodate the growing number of returning learners.
Chikando Secondary School, Day Secondary School, has been funded 64 million plus to ensure works are completed. Ladies and gentlemen, I am, on behalf of the ministry, so happy because this indicates the patriotic dedication by my government. This shows how serious the president is concerning education. We have been told several times that the government of the day attaches so much paramount, so much importance to education, and is in a hurry to ensure every child in the country has room to learn from. And this is one of what I'm talking about.
Speaking at the same event, Luangeni Member of Parliament and Second Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Moyo, welcomed the development, noting that the completion of the school will significantly benefit the local community. He also expresses gratitude to President Hakainde Hichilema for placing education at the center of national development. Meanwhile, Chipata District Education Board Secretary Philip Zulu underscores the importance of the project, stating that it demonstrates government's determination to deliver quality education to every child.
As a district, we are so grateful to the government of the day for demonstrating the will and leadership in ensuring that all children have equal access to quality education. The completion of the Chikando Secondary School cannot come at a better time than this. Guest of honor, Chipata District currently has only 23 secondary schools with classroom space of 258 classrooms. This is against a total enrollment of 17,950 pupils from 1 to grade 12. Guest of honor, this translates into a pupil classroom ratio of 70 to 1, which is away above the standard ratio of 40 to 1. Therefore, the completion of this school will significantly contribute to the lowering of the pupil classroom ratio and eventually lead to the quality.
MMD President and clergyman Nevis Mumba has made a strong appeal to the family of the late former President Edgar Lungu, urging them to reverse their decision to bury him outside the country. In a statement issued today, Dr. Mumba calls on the family to return the former president's body to Zambia, stating that the man who once led the nation should be laid to rest in the land of his birth. He says burying the former head of state abroad would amount to a permanent breach of national unity and a betrayal of his legacy. Dr. Mumba stresses that the country entrusted Edgar Lungu with its highest office and should in turn honor him with a burial on home soil. He further notes that Zambia as a Christian nation has always resolved sensitive matters through dialogue and adds that this moment should be used to foster reconciliation and national healing. Dr. Mumba also dismisses any notion of hostility against the former president's return, saying the public holds him in high regard and is ready to receive his remains with respect and dignity. The government is accelerating efforts to revive and complete stored education infrastructure projects nationwide. In Western Province, the Ministry of Education has handed over the Mitete Boarding Secondary School site to a contractor, marking a key step in expanding access to quality education. Eric Monamjende has more in the following.
The Ministry of Education has intensified efforts to revamp stored infrastructure projects across the country, including schools and higher learning institutions. On Saturday, 21st June 2025, a delegation led by Assistant Director of Infrastructure, Engineer Lwendo Habanti, visited Mitete District in Western Province to officially hand over the site for the construction of Mitete Boarding Secondary School to the contractor, China Jiangxi.
The purpose of our visit here in Mitete district of Western Province is to hand over the site to the contractor, China Jiangxi Engineering Corporation. This school, Mitete Boarding, had stored for over 10 years, and government has shown commitment by restarting this contract after this period of which it had stored to ensure that pupils are able to go back to school. With over 2 million pupils who have come back to school with a free education policy, it is important that infrastructure is also built to accommodate all the pupils that have come.
The project is valued at 200,204,961 kwacha 20 ngwe, with a completion period of 12 months, effective immediately.
Headquarters coming to Lukulu Debs and also crossing over to Mitete. And to get to Mitete, believe it or not, we will have to get on a boat, 3 hours going.
According to the ministry, this initiative is part of a broader government agenda to expand education infrastructure and meet the growing demand for quality, equitable, and accessible education services across Zambia. Malwa Eric J. Mwanamajende, reporting for Icu TV News.
On the other hand, traditional leaders in Western Province have praised government for involving them in the consultation process on the Constitution of Zambia Amendment Bill number 7 of 2025, describing the gesture as a sign of respect and recognition of traditional authority. The commendation came as Minister of Justice Princess Kasone led a high-level delegation to Lungu on Friday to engage the public on the proposed constitutional changes. During the main consultative meeting, Prime Minister of Barotse Royal Establishment, Ngambela Manyando, welcomes the move, saying the inclusion of chiefs in the review process showed government's willingness to uphold traditional leadership voices in shaping the nation's supreme law. Western Province Minister Kapelwa Bangweta also applauded the Ministry of Justice for ensuring the process remains open, transparent, and inclusive, reaching even grassroots communities. Earlier in the day, Minister Kasune met with civil society organizations, youth groups, the church, the business community, and ordinary citizens to gather a wide range of views on the proposed amendments. She reiterated government's commitment to engaging citizens in every province, noting that similar consultations had already taken place in other regions. She encourages the public to take ownership of the process and participate actively in shaping the Constitution. The Constitution of Zambia Amendment Bill number 7 of 2025 is currently open for public submissions, with citizens encouraged to share their views through official channels within the 30-day consultation window. Verification of ballot papers for the June 26 Lumezi constituency parliamentary by-election is currently underway at the Lumezi Civic Center. The process, which began following the arrival of the ballot papers on Saturday, is being conducted by the Electoral Commission of Zambia in the presence of political party representatives and other stakeholders in the electoral process. The Lumezi seat became vacant following the conviction of the area's former Member of Parliament, Munir Zulu. A total of 53,472 registered voters are expected to cast their ballots to elect a new representative. 6 candidates are contesting the by-election. They include Lufeyo Ngoma of the United Party for National Development, UPND, Citizens First candidate Wiseman Mvula, and Kutson Banda of the New Congress Party. Others are Isaiah Banda of the United Prosperous and Peaceful Zambia, UPPZ, Nebi Manda of the Leadership Movement, and former MP Pilila Mwanza, who is running as an independent candidate. We take our first break. Stay tuned for more news.
Welcome to the Zambia Research and Development Center, an institution dedicated to national development through capacity building and community development. Established in 2007 by a group of professionals and lecturers, ZRDC has since become a hub of research and innovation in the country. Registered with the Ministry of Home Affairs under the Registrar of Societies, ZRDC pursues cutting-edge research to address pressing social and economic challenges. Get involved. ZRDC engages in activities that stimulate international collaboration, promote knowledge sharing, and make research expertise available to decision makers. Our mission at ZRDC is to foster innovation and capacity building for national development. We believe in addressing poverty and underdevelopment through institutional and capacity building, human empowerment, and gender participation. In our quest to foster innovation and capacity building for national development, ZRDC launched the ZRDC University Sponsorship for Capacity Building and Development Program to facilitate knowledge advancement among ZRDC researchers and those intending to join the research community. Qualified Zambian citizens can pursue education at credible universities in Zambia with guaranteed prospects of joining the ZRDC research community. ZRDC engages in industrial and technological research, covering research development and innovative investigations to drive dynamic industrial development at national and regional levels. Join us at the Zambia Research and Development Center as we continue to innovate, empower, and shape a brighter future for Zambia. ZRDC, fostering innovation and capacity building for national development. Welcome.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. And now in our local stories, a grade 7 pupil from Lungu village in Chama district has died just days after sustaining injuries during a football match at an inter-school tournament. The pupil, identified as Menad Mtambo from Lungu Primary School, was involved in a collision with another player while attempting to head the ball in a match against Mondalanga Primary School. The tournament was being hosted at Chama Primary School. Eyewitnesses report that Minad collapsed after the incident and was rushed to Chama District Hospital for urgent medical attention. Chama District Health Director Dr. Biliati Piri confirmed that the pupil had suffered head injuries and was admitted on Wednesday, June 18, 2025. While undergoing treatment, he was also diagnosed with malaria and sadly passed away on June 21, 2025 at around 11:30 p.m. The Chama District Education Board Secretary's office said it is still gathering full details of the incident. Meanwhile, Eastern Province Police Commissioner Robertson Mweemba stated that no official police report regarding the matter had been received as of yet. The Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company has expressed concern over the growing trend of indiscriminate solid waste disposal into the city's sewer network. Company Public Relations Officer Ruth Mulenga says the utility is now recording an average of 100 cases of sewer blockages and overflows each week across different parts of Lusaka. Mulenga says the abuse of the sewer system is negatively affecting the delivery of sanitation services and posing serious public health risks. She reveals that the waste materials such as rags, sand, and plastics are frequently being flushed into toilets, leading to clogged sewer manholes. She named some of the most affected areas as Chilenje, Mtendere, Matero East, Kalingalinga, and PHI, along with busy commercial zones like Town Center and BH Market in Soweto. The utility calls on residents, businesses, and institutions to use the sewer network responsibly to preserve public health and improve service delivery. You're still watching Icu Tv Main News. We take another break, and coming up next is international and sports news, so do stay with us.
The Information and Communications University is driving the thrill for the nation in research and development. Enroll now for full-time and distance programs in the School of Engineering, Humanities, Business and Education. To apply, visit our website at www.icuzambia.net or call us on +260 211 221 662 or 0966 342 359. Sponsorship is available. Enroll now.
Thank you so much for staying with us. And now, in our international news, Donald Trump, the president who returned to the White House in January promising to be a peacemaker, has taken a dramatic step to insert the U.S. into the conflict between Iran and Israel. Far from bringing peace to the Middle East since taking office, Trump is now presiding over a region on the precipice of even greater warfare, a fight in which America is an active participant. In a televised address to the nation from the White House, just over 2 hours after announcing on social media that American forces had struck 3 nuclear sites in Iran, the American president said the operation had been a spectacular success. Flanked by Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Trump warned Iran that if they did not abandon their nuclear program, they would face future attacks that were far worse and a lot easier.
Just show some of the damage from Iranian attacks. Well, we'll be hearing more on that in just a moment or two, but first let's take a listen once again to President Trump. During an address at the White House, he said future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier if Iran does not make peace.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary...
And still in international news, 3 people have died after falling from the upper stand of a stadium in Algeria just after the final whistle as local football team MC Alger won the league title, the health ministry says. Dozens of others were injured when a security barrier collapsed, with fans surging forward to celebrate before falling onto the lower tier of the 5th July Stadium in Algiers, according to local media. More than 70 people have been treated in 3 hospitals, the health ministry says, adding that most have since been released. We take another break as we prepare for our sports news, so stay tuned.
Did you know that mental health conditions are treatable and recovery is possible? Hi, I'm Ngenia Febamoyo. I'm your host on Let's Talk Mental Health. I invite you all to this show where you freely express yourself, and together we find a solution. For more details, you can contact 0777 93 73 92, and we'll be there to help you find solutions to whatever you're going through.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. Football Association of Zambia FAS President Keith Mweemba has urged the Copper Queens to head into the upcoming Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON with unity, discipline, and a deep sense of patriotism. Speaking during the official send-off ceremony held at Tekla Hotel, Mweemba told the team that Zambia expects not just participation but victory at the continental showpiece. He emphasizes the importance of mental strength, preparation, and focus as key ingredients for success. Meanwhile, the Copper Queens will open their WAFCON campaign in Group A against host Morocco on July 5th at the Olympic Stadium in Rabat. They will face Senegal on July 9th in Mohamedia before concluding the group stage against DR Congo on July 12th at the same venue. That sports item brings us to the end of the main news, but before we go, a quick recap of the stories that made headlines. President Hichilema receives condolence visit from South African envoy. Ministry of Education to complete stored school projects nationwide. Neves Mumba appeals to Lungu family to bury former president in Zambia. Western chiefs commend government for inclusive Bill 7 consultations. And in our international news, Trump takes huge gamble putting U.S. at heart of Iran-Israel conflict. And in sports news, Mweemba rallies Copper Queens ahead of WAFCON campaign. Thank you so much for watching. For more news updates, do stay glued to our Facebook page, that's Icu TV, and our website, that's icutvzm.com. My name is Mapalo Kasama. Good evening.